Hey, what's up? My name is Tim with Decorative Concrete of Virginia, and today I'm going to show you how we stain and seal this concrete barn floor.
Feels like time is going faster than it seems.
In this particular project, we're going to grind the concrete, we're going to stain it with the acetone-based dye, and then we're going to seal it with epoxy and urethane. I'm going to walk you through each step of this process, so if you have any questions along the way, leave them in the comments below and I will try to get back with everyone. I make a lot of videos like this one, so if you want to see more like it in the future, hit the subscribe button down below. And if you enjoyed the video, it helps me out a lot if you hit the like button down below too. So this is a barn, but at some point during this video, it stops being a barn and it becomes more of a living space. This concrete is covered in clear sealer, so the first thing we have to do is grind the concrete to remove the sealer. We start using a 30 grit diamond and we eventually work our way up to a 100 grit diamond. And we just push the grinder across the entire floor. It takes a long time and it's not really that exciting to watch, so I'm just going to move on. Grinding creates a ton of dust. Our vacuum on the grinder gets up all the airborne dust, but we still have to get a lot of it off of the floor. We scrape all of the cut lines clean and we just keep vacuuming. While Schaefer's running the vacuum, Troy's going to go ahead and hang some paper on the walls to protect the woodwork from getting stain on it. Fortunately for us, the cinder block walls are being painted, so we don't have to worry about those. And then we just keep vacuuming. At some point the floor will eventually look pretty clean, but it's not. It seems like some of the dust just stays stuck on the concrete no matter how much we vacuum it. So we run a microfiber cloth across the entire floor to try to get it loose, and then we vacuum the entire place one more time. Now it's time to stain the concrete. We're using Westcoat Fast Stain on this one. We mixed the powdered dye into the acetone yesterday so that it would have time to dissolve, but we're still going to run the stain through a strainer to keep any clumps from clogging our sprayer. Westcoat Fast Stain is an acetone-based dye and it looks really similar to acid stain, but the main difference is that you don't have to clean any residue off of the concrete before you seal it. So we just spray the concrete stain on the floor and let it dry. One of the biggest benefits to using an acetone-based dye is that it dries almost instantly, so you can actually see the floor drying up as Troy works his way across the room. The acetone-based dye is flammable though, so you have to keep ventilation in mind when you're doing a project like this. It's important to spray the stain in a random pattern. You continually move the wand around, intentionally leaving light and dark areas, and the goal is to get the concrete stained without leaving any man-made patterns. Now it's time to seal the concrete. Today we're going to be using Westcoat EC11 water-based epoxy. This is a two-part epoxy, which means that we're going to mix the part A, which is called resin, with the part B, which is called hardener. We always pour the part B into the mixing bucket first, and then we pour the part A right on top of the part B, and we mix it for 3 minutes. We also diluted this coat by 10% with water. Once the epoxy is mixed, it's time to apply it to the floor. We cut the edges in with a brush and then we roll the rest of the floor with a 3/8" nap roller.
Never growing up, said we'd be young forever. You taught me how to love, and nothing could be better than you and me, baby, it was you and me.
This coat is pretty forgiving when it comes to roller marks, so we're just trying to get the material on relatively evenly at a rate of about 300 square feet per gallon.
Baby, it was you and me.
I always feel a little uneasy painting this white epoxy on the floor. On one hand, it's kind of nice because you can plainly see if you're covering the entire floor, but I'm always anxious to see the epoxy clear out, and it's particularly satisfying to watch it clear out in a time-lapse video like this.
I wish that I could live that dream.
We're going to let the epoxy cure out overnight, and we'll be back the next day to apply urethane. It's always so rewarding to see our project the day after we put the first coat of sealer on. It usually looks good enough to be finished, but we're going to put a coat of urethane on it to give it some extra durability. Today we're going to use Westcoat SC65 Clear Water-based Urethane. This is also a 2-part urethane, so we're going to mix it the same way we mixed the epoxy yesterday. We had a few other projects going on this week, so Troy and I are actually going to have to do this project by ourselves today. This would usually be too big of a project for 2 people, but since this floor has control joint cut lines all through it, we're just going to be able to use those cut lines as start and stop points. So we'll just paint this entire floor 1 square at a time. You have to be really careful not to leave roller marks in the floor whenever you top coat a smooth concrete floor. I found the best way to do it is to treat this as a 2-step process. First, Troy is going to get the material on the floor. Doesn't really matter how he does it, just as long as he does it quickly, and he has to make sure that he leaves the material pretty evenly on the floor. But it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to walk on top of the wet urethane in spiked shoes, and then I'm going to take my roller, which doesn't have very much material on it at all, and I'm going to roll it from one side of the floor all the way to the other. This will remove any roller marks that Troy left behind as he was putting it down.
Baby, it was you and me. Baby, it was. Baby, it was.
Before I end the video, I figured I'd back it up a few days and show you how we figured out which color we were going to do in this project. Hey, what's up? We're making samples for a stained concrete project that we're going to be doing next week. So I just want to show you my setup for that. We keep all of these, like all of our colors of stain, in gallon jars down here. So I'm just going to put this together, get the colors we need, and we'll take it into the job. So this is my sample box. I keep all of our colors in it along with tape and a few boards for masking off the samples. Since this job is only about 10 minutes from the shop, I'm going to go ahead and mix the clear epoxy now so that I don't have to drag the material and a drill out on the job site. Okay, so I got my kit ready. There's all my stains in there, my aerosol sprayers, and my sealer. So, ready to go. Oh, always forget a Sharpie. Don't forget a Sharpie to label stuff. This floor has sealer on it, so I had to take a hand grinder with me to grind the concrete. This DeWalt hand grinder, along with the DeWalt HiPiVac, are a great solution for scenarios just like this one. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can see exactly what I'm using. Now that the floor is clean and ready, I just tape a few squares on the floor and we can apply the dye. We always make stained concrete samples on the job site because when we put stain on the floor, it hardly ever matches the color chart. Concrete in California, where Westcoat makes this color chart, is a completely different color than the concrete in Virginia because the raw materials come from different rock quarries in different parts of the country. So we just can't expect the color chart to be that accurate. I love these Preval air sprayers. They're basically just a glass jar with an aerosol sprayer on top of the jar. So you can put whatever you want in the glass jar, and the Preval sprayer will be able to spray it on the floor. Once the floor is stained, I pull the tape up and then I label each color, and then we apply our epoxy sealer. Our customer was able to look at these samples later that evening. She picked the color and we ordered it for the project. If you enjoyed this video, it helps me out a lot if you would hit the like button down below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.